Okay, folks, I want to thank everybody for coming to our webinar today. We are going to talk about assisted living marketing, avoiding the expensive lead trap. My name is Valerie Van Boeven. I'm a registered nurse and the owner of LTC Expert Publications, along with my partner, George Novison. We are both managing partners of LTC Expert. And so today I'm going to talk to you about buying leads, the real experience. What are the options? Networking strategies online and offline. Yellow Pages no more. Google business listings before and after. 3 components of a local search strategy. 8 steps to build your local search strategy. What can go wrong if you aren't careful. Cost-effective strategy for making local search work for you. Our services, next steps, and questions and answers. It sounds like a lot, but we're going to move through this presentation quickly. We are recording this, so if anybody needs to come in late or drop out early, I will be sending out the recording to everybody who registered and to all the groups on LinkedIn and folks like that. So feel free to pass it on once you receive the replay to anybody that you feel might be interested in the presentation. It'd be fine with us to have this passed on. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. We will take questions and answers at the end of the program if there are any. So use your little dashboard that you have there. Since you're logged into the webinar, there's a place to type in your questions. Please use that dashboard if you have any questions, and I'll look at those at the end of the webinar, and we'll go through and answer them. If there aren't any, that's okay too. I know this is going to be a lot of information really quick, so if there aren't any questions, that's quite all right. But if there are, that'd be great. Okay, buying assisted living leads today. Now, this is kind of a funny, kind of a disturbing picture, but it doesn't matter whether I talk to home care agencies, assisted living facilities, long-term care insurance agents, reverse mortgage folks. Everybody feels like they're kind of in the same boat, or they express to me that they are, and that the quality of the leads that are available out there today just aren't what they used to be. And I know that in assisted living and even in home care, people do get quality leads. Sometimes they do get viable leads. Otherwise, there wouldn't be the need for the business if they weren't able to buy leads. So I know that quality leads do exist, but I also know that it's becoming harder and harder, and folks are having to spend more and more money in order to get them. And I also know that in the case of assisted living, oftentimes when someone is introduced to an assisted living facility, a prospect is becoming a client, if they come from certain lead sources, that assisted living facility is oftentimes giving up somewhere around at least a half of the first month's rent as a referral fee or whatever. So they get pretty expensive, and so we are going to talk today about other options that will help folks in assisted living communities get more phone calls without paying for expensive leads. So what are the options out there? And when I talk to assisted living facilities that are very successful all across the country, there are 2 things that make them the successes that they are. And there's a lot more little things that go into it. Of course, you have to be a good quality facility and all kinds of other things. But the 2 things that marketers say to help them the most is that in-person networking is number 1. And, of course, that in-person networking is never going to go away. You have to be out there shaking hands and looking people in the eye and meeting the folks in your community and participating with your community in order to get the word out about your services. That's really important. That's never going to change. We all know about it. But the reality is that we can only be in so many places at one time. Oftentimes there's only 1 or 2 marketing people for the whole facility, so it's impossible to be everywhere at every meeting all the time. So that's where our second, number 2 solution comes into play, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And I put a little quote on here from a gal named Lisa Vanderpump. It's a very funny name. She is one of the Housewives of Beverly Hills, if you've ever seen that show. It's a goofy reality show. It's almost nauseating to watch it. These people are so ridiculous. But at the beginning of every show, I think this is pretty funny, she says, in Beverly Hills, it's who you know, and I know everyone. So she's totally narcissistic. But anyway, so I say, ew. But the reality is, for the 2 strategies that I'm mentioning today, knowing everyone and getting to know the people in your community is super, super important. Whether you live in Beverly Hills or you live in, Nixa, Missouri, you need to know the folks in your community. So this is a given. I'm mentioning it because obviously in-person networking will never go away. But we're going to talk about the number 2 strategy that everybody that successful assisted living facilities that say today is working for them. And it's something that I think all of you need to know about and need to have in your back pocket as well. And that is your online presence. And I know everybody understands that they have a website and but I'm not talking just about websites. Because in today's world, if you or your website can't be found easily, you become invisible and you don't exist. And the reality of our situation is that marketing has changed quite a bit. And your online presence is one of the most important presences you can have. And hence, that's why all the assisted living facilities in the world are in every assisted living directory that exists. And I understand the rationale for that. But I think there are a couple of things you can do locally that will increase your visibility tremendously and make that phone ring. And this is what I want to show you. I'm going to show you some examples of really good online presences, first of all. Now, I know you can't see this very well, but you can see my big green arrows, and you can see my big red X. My big green arrows are pointing to the top few Google Places listings or Google Maps listings. I did a search, and this is exactly the search I did. I went to Google, and I typed in Assisted Living San Diego. 4 words, Assisted Living San Diego. And when I did that, these are the top several results that came through. Notice that things are changing a little bit about online search. Google has changed the way people search for local venues, for pizza parlors, assisted living facilities, home care agencies, reverse mortgage specialists, long-term care insurance specialists. These are considered places. And so you have to be in the top 7, or what they call the 7-pack, in order to survive online. So I put a big red X through the information over there on the right-hand side because those are actually pay-per-click. So in other words, anybody can pay enough money to be on the paid search. We're not talking about paid search today. We're talking about natural search engine results. And the importance, 75% of people who are investigating any product or service, especially a big-ticket item like assisted living, they are going to be looking at the natural search results first, the paid search results second. So we want to focus on those. Okay, I'm just going to show you very quickly some of the places across the country that do have a very good online presence and a very good website setup. And the reality is that the way your website is set up is extremely important to how people are getting a hold of you. You'll notice that there is absolutely no doubt how you reach out to this assisted living facility to get more information. The phone number is all over the top, and it talks about, call now and et cetera. This is this is just the top half of this website, but this is what I would call an excellent online presence and a very well-designed a website. If you look across the top, you see home, social interaction, memory support, family, about us, and our blog. Keep in mind that this website addresses the top fears, concerns, and questions that family members have about assisted living. Is there social interaction? Do they provide support for my family member who has memory loss? How does family get involved with the assisted living facility? And then knowing more about them. So we make sure that that these kinds of websites have an excellent call to action, and that they also offer solutions to the problems that exist or the questions that exist for families. So this is one example of a great online presence. Here's another example of a great online presence. This is a very similar website, obviously, but it has different color schemes. This is a Florida assisted living facility. It's more like a care home than it is an actual big facility, but it's certainly another example of a way to get the message across to consumers and offer solutions to problems. Finally, assisted living in Fort Myers, just like home. You can't get any more direct than that. So, And this is another example of a good online presence. Now, I would say that there are very few that take YouTube seriously in the healthcare market. Now, many people do have videos, and they do have maybe an account on YouTube where they have some of those videos. But how many assisted living facilities, home care agencies, elder care consultants actually have a YouTube channel that is custom designed? This is a real YouTube channel. In fact, this one is ours because I couldn't find a really good one for an assisted living facility. This one is custom designed, and it is extremely cheap to have this done. There are people out there who know how to do this in about 5 minutes if you give them their logo. So this is an example of a place where we house our videos that we do for our customers, actually. And this is where you can go, and when people get to this YouTube site, it's our branding. This is the way your YouTube channel should look. And by the way, if you don't have video, you must have video. This is the video age. Everybody has a smartphone. Not everybody, but you know what I mean. Majority of people have a smartphone. We're going to talk about some statistics there in a moment. And people are watching videos, getting information, doing searches from hospital bedsides for facilities and for home care and all kinds of things. You need to have a robust presence. Having a website just ain't getting it. So let's look at all the other options here. This is actually an assisted living Twitter account, assistedlivingfacilities.org. You may have heard of this. And they have had their Twitter background custom designed. Again, extremely cheap, extremely easy to do. Doesn't take very long at all, but it actually gives you a very good idea of how professional this organization is. Fantastic job for assistedlivingfacilities.org. Absolutely, you should have a Twitter background like that. And this is an example of an assisted living home that is probably family-owned and operated. I don't know that for sure. These are not our clients. But I want to point something out to you. This is their Facebook business page. You should have a business page and not a personal Facebook page for your company. And if you look over here on the left-hand side where my big red arrow is, you can see 533 people like this. This is in Lovettsville, Virginia. Now, I'm going to guess that that's not a real big town, but these people have done a fantastic job of getting the word out about their Facebook business page, and it's full of content. And you can see that 533 people like this. Fantastic job, and kudos to them. Every assisted living facility should have a presence this good. Very nice job for them. Okay, so people are using search engines instead of the yellow pages. The internet is where your customers are looking for you, and according to the research company, the Kelsey Group, 28% of all online and mobile searches are looking for local business information. And that number is expected to go up to 35% in a couple of years. And in the next 3 years, almost all cell phones will be smartphones. So folks are going to be doing a lot of searching on their phone. I personally can't stand doing a search on my phone, but maybe I'm an old lady, I don't know. Why local search is critical to your success. Now, I want to show you something here. If you look at the top listing, this is, again, an example of what we call Google Places, and I'm going to show you more examples as we go through this. Notice that you don't just get the name of the business, but a lot of other great information, like an address, a phone number, a map with walking or driving directions. You will get, and I'll show you this live, too, you get reviews, photos, videos, links to their website, and everything you could possibly need to make the decision to choose that business. This is an example of a home care agency in Topeka, Kansas. All kinds of good information there if you were to click on their page. So let's look at this, and let's talk more in depth about Google Places, because that's what we're talking about here in general. There's all kinds of good ways to have a robust web presence, but Google Places is the #1 local business search application that's out there. Now, this is a picture of Google Places a few months ago. And if you recall, if you're a Google person like I am, if you made, this is a search for San Francisco dentist as an example. And I know this is kind of blurry, but what I really want you to see is where the map is located. It's on the left-hand side. There's a top 10 or 6 or 7, I don't know how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 businesses listed there. And then below that was all local web results. It's all, natural search engine results. You can see at the top of the page in the pink or the purple, whatever it looks on your screen, there, that's where the pay-per-click is. And then all the way down the right-hand side, that's all pay-per-click. So this is the way that Google used to be designed. Today, if you were to look at Google Places, you will notice if you do, you can even go and do a search on Google for San Francisco dentist and see what you come up with. It'll be something similar to this. The map is on the right-hand side, and then look at this. The Google Places search results, the little pin drops that you see, the little red pin drops, take up a majority of the first page of Google. It has cut out a tremendous amount of natural search results. What that's saying is that you, Mr. and Mrs. Assisted Living Facility Marketer or owner or business person or salesperson, you need to be in the top 7, we call it the 7-pack, for Google Places. If you are not there for your local business, for your assisted living facility, you're going to get lost. So you need to be there. And if you're already there, you need to keep that place because everybody around you is going to start hiring consultants to do this for them. So you can see that some of the, and I'll show you more examples of how the pay-per-click is also getting more expensive. So the next question is, who is getting more calls? And this is an example of, here, let's go back one. I didn't do my little, wait a minute here, let's do from current slide. Okay, so ignore my arrows for a second, but if you see, this is, again, assisted living in San Diego, California. So I just put assisted living San Diego. This is one of the shots I showed you at the top of the webinar at the beginning. And you can see A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you can see that these are all Google Maps listings. If you're not in this top 7, you're lost. So I want you to look at this now. This is the map blown up. Okay, so you see all the teeny little red dots all over the place? That is an indication of all of the assisted living facilities that exist in San Diego, or some portion of San Diego. It's probably not the whole county. So there you have a big map. I just blew up that little map on the right-hand side. Look at all those little bitty dots. There are tons of them, on top of each other, in fact. And then look at how many big dots there are. I've got my arrows pointing to a couple of them. You've got A, B. My green arrows are pointing to A and B. There are only 7 that are getting the big upside-down teardrop thing. So there's very few out of all of these assisted living facilities that are getting any attention on the first page of Google. And those are the people who are getting the phone calls. This is where you need to be. You absolutely must be in this top 7. So if we took a little bit larger look at who those 3 are, these are the people that are getting the calls. You can see Sunrise Senior Living. I'm sure you've all heard of those. Belmont Village, and it looks like Atria Callwood. Those are A, B, and or A, B, and D. I don't know where C went on here, but those are A, B, and D. So if you were if you were assisted living facility in San Diego, California, I can tell you right now that chances are Sunrise, Belmont, and Atria Callwood have hired a service to do this for them. And they do an extremely good job. And this is one of the things that folks hire us to do. So you have to be on the ball about Google Places, and I'm going to tell you how to do that right now. First of all, every local search strategy needs to do these 3 things. So to have the right Google Places page to show up and stand out, you need to optimize your Google Places page, enhance it, and monitor it. And I'm going to tell you the 8 steps to do that. The first step is to check and see if your community or facility is already listed or your location is listed. If it is, that's great. You need to do some, number 2 is you need to do some careful keyword research. You must do keyword research. If you don't, you could be leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table for your competitors to scoop up. And I guarantee you that folks are getting very, very savvy at this right now. So they will absolutely blow you out of the water if you don't do the right careful keyword research. And keyword research means knowing what it is in your local area that people are typing in order to find assisted living. Okay, then list your business. It's free to list your business. Just go to Google Business Center and fill out the forms. It's free and it's simple, but that's the end of the story when it comes to being simple. Everything else, aside from filling out the original form, is not simple at all. You need to claim your business. This tells Google that you are the owner of this business. If you don't claim your business, anyone can attempt to claim your business, and that can be a real problem to get rid of. And in the home care arena, we have run into that many, many times, where their business was claimed by someone else in the past or recently, and it's just craziness. So don't let that happen. Then you need to optimize your listing. Optimizing your listing, it means a lot of different things, so that's a really short sentence for a huge amount of work. You need to double and triple check your website and any other online directories or websites to make sure that the address and telephone number match exactly what your Google Places listing says. Conflicting information can cause Google to penalize your listing, so you really need to make sure that that all matches. And the next one is to enhance your listing with videos, photos, and reviews are especially important. And since people rely on the opinions of others to help them make up their minds, collect and post positive recent reviews often. I cannot tell you how important this is, especially for assisted living. Positive reviews, so important. And videos and photos, oh my goodness, if you do not have video today for your assisted living facility or your assisted living care home or whatever you call your assisted living community, you definitely need to get video. And I do not mean that you have to have expensive video with camera crews coming out and all that. You can have some very simple videos that tell a great story and still be on the ball. You need to submit your listing to online directories like Yellow Pages, Super Pages. That can help your Google Maps listing stay on that first page. And there are over 90 directories that you should really be listed in. That's right, there are 90 because some of them are mobile, some of them are not mobile, but all of them are important. You need to monitor your listing regularly, and you must do this monthly to avoid a serious loss in revenue. This is a major reason local businesses fail with online advertising. They don't assign it to anybody, or they say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and they wonder why their sales are down. If you don't have the discipline to make this a priority, you should think about using an affordable service like LTC Expert to take care of it for you. But seriously, this should be a monthly, or at least monthly, you should be doing your listing, monitoring your listing. Okay, so the I guess moral of the story here is that local search should be your #1 advertising priority. Besides getting out there and really hitting the pavement and getting to know your local community and participating and contributing to your local community, local search should be your #1 advertising priority. And Google Places is free, but it takes a lot of time and energy to make it work right. So even though listing your business in Google Maps and Google Mobile is free, doing it wrong or not monitoring regularly could cost you big time. Well-intentioned smart business owners make this mistake all the time. They think that if their business shows up on Google Places once, that it'll always be there, but that's not the case. Google pulls information about your business from a wide variety of sources, not just the information you entered yourself. So things can change very quickly. In other words, your competitor could hire somebody to take care of their listing and knock you off the top 7. So if you have multiple locations and you don't handle them the correct way, you could also be labeled a map spammer by Google. And that's a headache you never want to deal with, because believe me, if Google thinks that there's something wrong with you, they will lock you out of everything. They know who you are. Google can tweak one minor thing and your listing could completely disappear off the rankings. And we've seen that happen because people do what we call keyword stuffing. They put the words, for instance, assisted living San Diego in every single iota of an item on Google Places, and that will get you kicked off immediately. You could easily fall behind your competitor's listing because, as I said before, people are rushing to make this happen and do it well. So what is the most cost-effective way to bring in customers and boost profits with local search advertising? It just makes smart sense to trust your local search strategy to a team who knows what they're doing and a team that works in your industry. And that's really true. I got to say that if you if you do a Google search for assisted living and then just input your city, your state, you will see who's in the top 7 for your local area, who your competition is. And one of those people may be you, and that would be a good thing. But be sure to keep that listing fresh and up to date all the time, or hire a group to do that for you. That's extremely important. You need folks that are going to monitor your listings across multiple platforms. They can monitor reviews, keep them positive and recent, and someone who can perform reputation management and keep any issues from cropping up across social media like Twitter, Facebooks, or blogs. This is an ongoing task that can't be done just once. So if you've considered a local search marketing company that is only submitting to directories, and I'm going to tell you who that is, one of them right now, you're not likely to get the kind of return you're hoping for. In other words, I know that you can go to a place called ineedhits.com, and for $9.95, they'll set up your Google Places listing and submit you to some directories or something like that. That absolutely will do nothing but get you delisted from Google. It's not the kind of service you want. You should never pay $9.95 for anything that's related to the internet, except for maybe a click. So that's definitely not something you should be doing. It has to be done right. Just so you know, for our service, we submit your business information to 90 directories, as we discussed before, which strengthen your presence on Google. We do perform that careful keyword research to determine which categories best fit your business, which keyword searches people are doing, and we submit Google Maps and Google Mobile search listings. We change and or verify existing Google Maps listings. We check your website to make sure the listings match the information on the site. In other words, the address, business hours, methods of payment, all of that needs to match. We create a proper description that will best describe your business to your customers and to Google, and we enhance your listing with additional details and information. We add photos and videos to enhance your listing. Up to 10 can be displayed, and if you don't have videos, you have to get them, and we actually provide those to our clients. We create 5 videos for our clients to submit to YouTube and to about 25 other video sites. And we do that, and they're beautiful videos, and I'll show you an example. I'll tell you where to go to watch one. Create up to 5 coupons that can be accessed from desktop and mobile. Now, I realize that you're probably not giving away coupons for anything that is a big-ticket item like assisted living, but you can give away free reports, assisted living guides, caregiving guides, and things like that, and that's what we do for our customers. We create things that don't cost them money, but are a nice giveaway for consumers who need more information. Monthly maintenance. You need to do this, and this is what we do. Provide monthly status reports, check your listing monthly to make sure it's still claimed, monitor reviews monthly and reduce the impact of negative reviews if there are any, provide information on changes to Google Maps, make up to 5 changes per month on the listing, an aggregate of photos, videos, reviews, and coupons to keep the listing fresh. And just so you all know, for us, our marketing program includes a lead capture website like the ones I showed you at the very beginning of this webinar. Our charge is a one-time fee of $19.95 to get everything set up, and then we charge $350 a month. But we do so much more than just putting up a Google Places page. We do all of your weekly blogging, your article marketing, your branded monthly newsletter, your custom video distribution. We do the Google Places program, and the video program is included, which means those 5 videos I talked about. We monitor and take care of all of your social media accounts, and we set them up for you if they don't already exist. We search engine optimize everything. And many folks in assisted living already have a website, and that's fine. We don't want this to replace your traditional corporate website unless you are independent and you want something new. But we do put up a lead capture website like the ones I showed you because they are all trackable with an 800 number that's trackable and all kinds of other information that allows you to know every single week what kind of return on investment you're getting from your Ultimate Marketing Program. So we track phone calls, we track all the Google Analytics, we have lead forms that are tracked, everything is trackable. So there's never a time when you can say, when you should never have to say that you don't know what's going on, because everything is sent to you on a weekly or monthly basis depending on the item that's being tracked. and we do all of that as an inclusive part of what we do. So with that, bonuses and options. We include your business in our state and national Google My Maps listing. That's a whole nother set of discussions that's geeky and techy. But in order to get you in the top 7 for your local marketplace, we have to do a whole lot of behind-the-scenes work on Google Places. And having these things called Google My Maps spread out all over the universe is very important, and you need to be on those. So we create Google My Maps, and as they are developed, we include you in those so that you get more visibility from Google. It's geeky, it's long-winded, but it's important. And then optionally, just so you know, you can always add on Google Places tags or something called Google Boost. And that's through Google themselves. That's not through us, but we will help you set it up. You would have to pay Google $25 a month to maintain it. But it's I think the first 30 days is still free right now. It's a nice little tag that goes on your Google Places page or your listing that kind of sets you apart from the rest. It doesn't guarantee first place page placement, but it does give you a little extra highlight. So next steps. We want you to take action on your Google local search strategy. I want you to call my partner, George, because he can answer your questions and let you know if our services are right for your business. His number is toll-free 888-404-1513, or you can email him at george@ltcep.com, george@ltcep.com. George Novison has extensive experience in the elder care market, in lead generation, and business development. He used to work for Elder Care Link, so he completely understands this marketplace and what you're faced with, and he would love to talk to you, even if it's just to have a conversation about what kind of marketing techniques you should be using. In his business development expertise, he does a great job with that. So feel free to give George a call or email him, and he'll set up a time to talk to you. Okay, so again, our website is ltcsocialmark.com. You can go there, and you can look around on our website and see all the different things that we have available there. And you can just email George at george@ltcep.com. Now, I don't see any questions, so with that, we're going to call it a day. I want to thank you very much for your time and attention. This is how assisted living can avoid the expensive lead trap. Thank you so much. This is Valerie Van Booven, and we'll talk to you again soon.